The reviews are in, and critics are calling it the best new album of the summer. It's Hard Times by Young Bugs, out now on Spotify, Google, YouTube, Booble, YouBoob, and everywhere music is purveyed. That's Young Bugs. See them perform songs from their new album Hard Times live in Brooklyn on September 14th at Our Wicked Lady. That's Young Bugs live at Our Wicked Lady in Brooklyn on September 14th. I'm going. Are you?
Hello, folks. It's another beautiful episode of House of Decline. And first, we gotta do the plug for the Patreon, because we're media assholes now. So it's patreon.com/House of Decline. For as little as $3 a month, you get bonus comic every day. There's already more than 100 comics in there. So just with $3 measly, you get 110 frickin' comics. So that's a pretty great deal right there. For $5 a month, you get bonus episodes of the pod. Up to $25 a month where you can commission comics from me. You can tell me to draw whatever you want, within reason. I retain the right to refuse anything that is too disturbing. Maybe I'm just not feeling it. But you know how commissions work. But anyway, I'll try to draw most stuff, though. So that's patreon.com/House of Decline. And now on to the show. As always, Steven is here.
Hi.
And it's just the two regular boys
just
for this episode.
Two of us. How's that song go? Just the two of us.
Castles in the sky, just the two of us.
Yep.
You and I. Yeah.
And for all our listeners out there who pay extremely close attention to how I'm sounding, I'm using a different microphone.
Mm-hmm.
And so
excellent.
See if you can notice. Go back to the last week's episode, compare, contrast.
Yeah.
Let me know what you think. Email us at houseofdecline@gmail.com about my mic technique.
For you audiophiles out there, sit between two big speakers and,
right.
Listen to the last two episodes.
Yep.
And, make notes. We will have special FLAC versions of the episodes for you, so you can listen to them in pristine audio quality.
Yeah, it's like 400 gigabytes download.
Yeah, 400 gigabyte audio files. Yeah.
It's like an hour-long FLAC.
Yeah, your computer starts chugging like an old motor vehicle, going, it starts, can't handle it, starts sweating. But here's another, so some episodes of House of Decline are us talking. Some of us are interviewing somebody we like or find interesting. Some of it is improv sketches, and sometimes we have crackpot theories. And this is a crackpot theory episode.
Oh boy, I'm excited.
Yeah. Because I've developed a new crackpot theory in the course of my existence of what I find to be, so I think about, the right-wing media sphere a lot because my dad has become very right-wing as of late, and it's been sad to see him sort of go down this road that I think is affecting not only his mental but physical health negatively. Because he becomes addicted to this, adrenaline rage cycle of the news provoking him in some way.
Well, wait, is he a drifter born to walk alone?
He is a drifter born to walk. He has a heart. It's weird because he has no conservative friends. And you need friends, Dad. You need to talk to people. And I'm trying to encourage him to even make conservative friends. But it's like, I wouldn't want to belong to any club that would have me as a member mentality that's also holding him back.
Is he going down the only road he's ever known?
He is going down the only road as Yeah, he's a big David Coverdale fan. It's amazing that Whitesnake are British. I thought they were American.
Oh, they're the most American British band ever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of like how Van Halen is the most Austrian American band ever.
Absolutely. Because of their Nazi guitar licks. No, David Lee Roth is one of our most favorite Jewish lead singers. Anyway, I think about the right-wing media sphere a lot because I try and deprogram my dad. I try and do tricks to deprogram my dad.
Dirty tricks.
Yeah, dirty trick. Well, one time, so he's like, because you know how the right wing is culture war constantly, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I did the toxic masculinity double bluff on him, which is like, Dad, back in the day, conservative people didn't whine about Lizzo. That would be considered, what a pussy would do, what a big pussy would do. And for a second, I saw it click in him. It's like, wait, yeah, you're right. Moaning over all this celebrity bullshit is awful. Right. But then he went back to it because it's like, no, Lizzo. No.
He's mad at Lizzo?
No, I'm just using her. I think it's funny if he's mad at Lizzo.
That would be funny if your dad is only talking about how mad he is at Lizzo.
Yeah. He was mad at Chris Rock. He sided with Will Smith and the Chris Rock slapped him. And
okay.
He had a lot of ire towards Chris Rock as well. No, he had a lot of ire towards Will Smith. He sided against Will Smith.
Because he's pro comedians and such.
Yeah, he's pro free speech.
Right.
He's pro free speech.
Yeah, so many right wing comedians out there.
Chris Rock is not. Well, who knows? I don't think he's right wing.
He's the most right wing comedian we have.
He is the most right wing comedian. He's changing his name to Chris Right Wing. But in my journey to attempt the psyche of the right-wing man, I think there is like a lot of media pushing people towards this idea, specifically alienated white men that don't have a lot of friends. They're pushing this idea that there is no seat for you at the table with queers or minorities. They will always exclude you. Right.
And I think. Did you know that the white man is the most oppressed? He's the most oppressed guy, kind of guy there is.
He actually believes that, though.
Because you can't go to the movies.
Yeah,
and you can't buy the gun, and
you can't buy a gun.
you have to buy electric car.
Yeah, you can't buy gas car anymore. They make you buy electric car because I want to buy gas. I'm a white man. I deserve my gas car.
Yeah,
that's my culture.
I want to combust all over,
Why are people so mad at gas cars? That's my Madagascar pun. Yeah. But there is like a lot of media that's attacking them on this front because then it can profit off of them by saying, come here, we'll make you feel better, alienated white man. And that's like Jordan Peterson's thing. He says, minorities and queers are not going to have you, so come to me, your white all-father,
I'm Jordan Peterson. I know what it means to walk along the lonely street of dreams.
I walk this empty street on the boulevard of broken dreams. So there's that aspect to it. But two, I think when you get down to sort of conservative or even into like colonial mindset, what I think, like Marxist stuff tells us that there's a material reason for why people are ascribed to the certain political strategies they're ascribed to, But with this new right-wing movement, what we're seeing more and more is it's unmoored from material consequences because it's all culture war now. And I guess there is a material basis for culture war, but really it's about much more ethereal or abstract social ideas than, say, taxes or even, the classic Republican dog whistle of busing. At least something actually happened. There was like material geographic consequences with busing, but now like the entire thing is about education. It's about these sort of abstract concepts. So it goes beyond.
The left is doing the propaganda wrong. They're not doing the same propaganda that we want to do. Yeah. It's all about the weird ideology in the schools.
Yeah. it's very much theoretical and not based in sort of like the traditional Republican pitch of lower taxes, right? Now it's like they're fighting for meaning itself, you know. They're fighting for the idea of and that's like a big thing with Jordan Peterson and people like my dad is meaning is being depleted. He hates postmodernism as he sees it because he sees it as a if we change the words of the genders, if he means she, then nothing is right anymore. Up is down. As if, language doesn't shift extremely rapidly. Even within our lifetime, words take on different meanings,
It's true. Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing to care that much about.
Yeah. Well, it's an ex post facto way of justifying an instinctual bigotry. Okay. And where I think... And that's what I'm getting to, is you have this instinctual bigotry, and where does that come from? Like, what is the axiomatic thought undergirding it?
It probably comes from your mom's side.
It definitely comes from your... Yeah, absolutely. It's matrilineal.
That's matrilineal.
No. So this is my crackpot theory. What this axiomatic conservative idea is, at sort of the core of conservative values, is something that I have termed anti-varietal thought.
Whoa.
Anti-varietal thought. So what does this mean? Against variety. Against the idea that multiplicity is philosophically good. Things should be arranged into the same things. There should be narrow categories of things that we can shape our reality around. It's this same anti-varietal thought. I saw this meme going around Twitter, which was about the Chad J.R.R. Tolkien versus, the stupid Wojak George R.R. Martin. Right. And what this fantasy account liked about Tolkien is that there's objective good and evil in his books, and but once again, anti-varietal thought. What he didn't like about George R.R. Martin was that, there are gray areas and people have complex motivations. And
people can be good and bad. Yeah.
Yeah. And Martin's work is much more rooted in materialism than, say, Lord of the Rings is, because like a big part of the Song of Ice and Fire books is like getting resources to certain areas on time. And, that lack of complexity, that desire for a lack of complexity in one's worldview, and sort of like, I think it also undergirds a lot of religious thought as well, because religious thought is, especially people that are very doctrinal, stick to dogma a lot and don't have a shifting interpretation. People that literally interpret the Bible as well. I think there's that conservative streak. An example of it I use, and I think was illustrated beautifully, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy books are, they're sort of nerdy. Most people on Twitter would consider them Reddit. They're Reddit books.
I don't know. I think a lot of people...
they're pretty timeless.
They're good.
I think they're
good. I don't know if Twitter people would say they're bad.
They have sort of like that Python-esque humor that sort of hit its stride in the 80s, but as it got repeated more and more, sort of became more dated. But I think, Hitchhiker's Guide holds up as a piece of literature.
I mean, it got memed to death. I mean, 42 got memed to death on the internet, and it's like, if anyone ever is like saying, 42, it's like, okay, please, is this your first day here? Please.
But I mean, 42 is like a perfect illustration of the meaninglessness of the question, why is life, the universe, and everything, So the example I use from Hitchhiker's Guide is Douglas Adams' own comment on the English. It's the planet Cricket, which is a great story. It's this planet that's covered in clouds. It's overcast like England. And so they don't know that there's outer space. They don't know that there's space because they're just constantly covered in clouds. They think they're in this vaulted dome. They think they're in this narrow universe. They think they're in this very small universe. And then they discover space travel. They go outside their clouds and they see the majesty of the universe before them. And their first thought is, well, it'll have to go. And they commit to destroying everything in the universe, which I think, but that's like a perfect example of, that is the mentality undergirding colonial mindset, is that our culture is superior. and it should only be this culture because the rest is subject to savagery, and you can deem it as inferior. It's this thing that inherently sees something different and says, I need to mold it into the thing that I'm already familiar with, which is sort of a mentality that I've noticed that a certain type of conservative Englander have.
Right.
Because that's what it's like. If you've been to England, it's like overcast all the time, and that's that escape into fantasy. You need to create your little box Lego world, where you can manipulate everything.
Yeah, they have that about art. Everyone was dunking on the classical art account or whatever that was comparing a Picasso painting with some other different kind of
some realist, some neoclassicist art.
Like a romantic realist painting, and it was very weird because the Picasso painting is like much funner to look at, and the realist painting is boring, but it's sort of stereotypically beautiful.
Yeah.
In like a way that a photograph might be.
That appeal to, but it's also an appeal to tradition as well. It's like the old ways were better. And that's part of, I watched Lord of the Rings again recently. And Tolkien had that sort of mode of thought where history repeats itself but degrades. I think we've talked about it on before, because at the beginning of the podcast, we were sort of feeling like that, with the pandemic. But I think we've taken a much more optimistic stride, as of recent. Our outlook has definitely changed.
I mean, as you might remember, during that period of time, I was mostly focused on Ocean Spray's Crandemic.
They were having a big crandemic, absolutely.
Yeah, everyone.
That was their big marketing strategy.
It's crandemic. It's and then I think they wanted to say crandemonium. Yeah, that was a great time for me. And Ocean Spray, go to oceanspray.com.
Go to oceanspray.com. Get cransexual, which is of course a pun on pansexual.
Right, which is of course a pun on pants sexual.
Yeah, pants sexual.
Right.
That's when you want to get into everyone's pants.
That's, of course.
That's why they call it. Yeah, that's why they call it.
It's the etymology.
Pansexuals don't come from me. I am pansexual. I can say these pansexual. I say bisexual and pansexual interchangeably.
Well, they're not. I mean, pansexual, if you want to get into it, that means you want to, you want to get the pots and pans in the kitchen?
Steven, you don't know what you're doing. This is a fucking Pandora's box
in the
of
kitchen?
Discourse that you don't want to
it's
open.
Like the pots and pans, like the cast iron?
Yeah, you're massaging your balls on the pan. I'm massaging my balls all over the pots and pans.
They're going to come for me for doing puns?
For puns, you're pansexual. That's what they don't know. You get off. You should identify as queer and say I'm pansexual.
Yeah, I think
People
that might be a little
that.
risky for my career. As a stay-at-home dad, I might get fired.
Harry Styles is pretending he's gay, and
hey! You can't say he's pretending.
You're right. He's on a journey.
He's on a journey. He's on a journey of self-discovery, and it involves making millions of dollars.
Yeah, I wish my gay journey involved me making a bunch of money by dressing in funny outfits.
I know. I would do pretty much anything for millions of dollars. So,
yeah. Well,
I'm sure it's genuine.
I don't know. Who cares? It doesn't. If you care genuinely about Harry Styles, you've lost the plot.
Okay, so we kind of lost the plot too on our.
We've lost the plot.
Let's go back to your crackpot theory.
But anti-varietal thought. Yeah, the idea that there should be limited categories, and that a world of limited categories is inherently a more orderly and understandable and thus good world. That's sort of the axiomatic underpinning of Jordan Peterson's argument against what he deems postmodernism, is that it's literally too many categories. That's what it ultimately boils down to, is I don't want to learn another word. I don't want, there shouldn't be another category. It's too much for my brain, and because of that, I have to spin it out into this like weird spiritual philosophical thing, when really it's like any normal person or any compassion, someone who's given the most basic empathy is like, oh, their decision does not affect me in any way. And it's weird the argument they use where it's like, and you see Dave Chappelle repeat that shit, where it's like, do I have to be complicit in your fantasy? Which is like, isn't denying somebody's identity from your point of view a much greater imposition on them than them asking to use their correct name and, right pronouns? Isn't like saying that you're not who you say you are a much greater fantasy for you? Isn't that like... Because it's like if you told somebody they straight up don't exist, that's fucked up. That's the only way that ideology works. If you're actively telling they're saying something to you, I am this way, and you're saying I think you're lying, and
they're doing the "I don't believe you" meme from Anchorman every single time.
Yeah, every single time, and I fucking. Yeah, that sort of, and that refusal comes from that not wanting to adopt more category, not wanting to change your worldview to encompass a broader variety of ideas. It's just, and I think I don't know if there's an opposite thing that underpins left it, like pro-varietal thing. I don't think there's. I mean, kind of in the idea of multiplicity and, racial harmony and liberal ideas that...
I think the most effective counter-argument is like neoliberal atomization and collective action.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a semi-convincing argument. As of late, I've been checking out on the political arguments and deciding to not care. But, you can care all you want. Because, the stakes, I think the stakes should be lowered, like I said last week, because no one's gonna solve it by just getting into an argument with someone and getting mad. So just lower those stakes. We're all friends online. We're all here to share memes.
The problem with the online thing is that sometimes internet does become real life in weird ways. Did you see that J.D. Vance was on the Amy Therese podcast?
I heard that. I think wasn't it a while ago?
No, it was very recently that
okay.
J.D. Vance. And the reason why it's notable, not just because they're both, allegedly funded. Well, we know J.D. Vance is funded by Peter Thiel. We don't know if Amy Therese is funded by Peter Thiel. Allegedly beyond that aspect of it, J.D. Vance said he wants a federal ban on abortion, which is very weird because he's supposed to be the center-right candidate. He's supposed to be like a moderate. That's his entire deal, is liberals love him because he did the whole Holler Ant movie. He did the whole Holler
I think
Ant
of him
book.
as like a sort of a secret integralist, kind of like with Peter Thiel and Adrian Vermeule, and they want to abandon the idea of the originalists, and they do not want to be, they don't like the Supreme Court. They're not really fans of the Scalia paradigm anymore. They want to go to they want to have a monarchy. They want to have a monarchy, decide the morals for everybody, and so
but. Once again, anti-varietal thought. Decide narrow range of parameters is what undergirds this idea.
Sure, yeah. And they can only accept one morality, which is the Catholic one, which is a weird one.
Yeah, that's not even the best of Christianity. It's the funnest, maybe it's the spookiest because they have bones and stuff.
Yeah, I guess it's fun for the one if you want to believe in like exorcisms and stigmata and I saw that Shia LaBeouf converted to Catholicism on the set set of the Padre Pio movie. Padre Pio, of course, had stigmata. He cured people of their cancer. He was apparently in two places at once. And this was all in the 20th century. And he's a saint now because Catholics believe in magic.
They do believe in magic, yes. It's one of the undergirding principles is Jesus is magic.
If you say that, they get mad because magic is actually a satanic thing, but they believe in Satan too. So
but yeah, it's interesting because J.D. Vance, taking this anti-abortion stance for J.D. Vance is generally seen as a bad move because abortion is very popular. It turns out it's more popular than I think it's 60-40 in America.
Right. Yeah. Blake Masters, who's not doing well, is the other Peter Thiel candidate, has removed a lot of mentions of abortion from his website and is not talking about it anymore. Because he's probably going to lose, and he's trying desperately to not lose. But you can't beat an astronaut. Come on, man. You were a blogger for one guy. You were one guy's personal blogger. Okay, you're not going to become the next senator from Arizona. It's going to be the astronaut.
But yeah, Vance is running against a much worse Democratic candidate in Tim Ryan.
Yeah, Tim Ryan. He was a failed Democratic presidential candidate in, was it 2016? Is that when he ran? I think he ran in 2016.
Something like that. I don't even remember. But yeah, he's a big nothing, and but it seems like this comment on pivoting to a federal ban on abortion might hurt him. I don't know. I haven't seen the polling since who really listens to Amy Therez's podcast. I don't know if it has a big reach even among the Thiel-pilled people. But it is just an example of, like, people were thinking, if this does get out, potentially it could ruin his chances. So it's really weird that Felix from Chapo not replying to somebody results in potentially J.D. Vance losing this election.
Yeah, I don't know.
That sort of domino situation.
I don't think it was just Felix not replying to Amy that made her do her rightward turn. We're seeing so many people become doing a right-wing turn that it's not like Felix is not replying to all of them.
Yeah. Well, what it is, it's that everyone wants to be in media because that's like one of the emerging industries. It's one of the only growing industries now. It's one of the industries that can't be automated because, or I guess it will eventually have like AI podcasters or whatever, but the technology is not right there. It's one that puts a premium on having a personality, which is why it is fairly resistant to automation immediately. So everyone secretly feels that, which is why everyone's trying to be media assholes like us.
Oh, yeah.
We're doing it too. And what is a very good way to make money as a media asshole? Right-wing propaganda machine. Because it's like, not only, it's the I love Elvis, I hate Elvis formula. Not only do you get the rabid fans, who are saying, you're justifying my worst instincts, I love you. But you also get the people commenting on the right-wing media, too. The left-wing media plays a big part of spreading that and, stoking that culture. So it's this, whereas like left-wing media does not have that same it usually makes money off of only the I love Elvis people, not the I hate Elvis people. So,
well, yeah, I don't know. I think MSNBC kind of started with some hate stuff, They make money off of the hate, and there's centrist leftist kind of stuff that's sort of like that.
That happens more with the center. Like the culture war that the right has is with people like Rachel Maddow and stuff like that. Not really like who's like the most prominent left-wing commentator. I guess, I don't know, Hassan Piker.
Well, no.
But the only people
no.
I mean,
like for age group, I mean, you have to include age groups because, like, generally speaking, young people don't give a shit about politics.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, they don't vote as much, and they don't give a shit. And they do on Twitter, but Twitter warps your view of the populace in America.
Yeah.
And not very many Americans use Twitter, so if you want to get a sense of what people are like, go on Instagram, go on Facebook.
Yeah.
Definitely don't go outside. You're not going to find out anything there.
Absolutely. Nobody, don't talk to anybody. Don't make rapports with anybody. But I think that's anti-varietal thought. It's not just limited to right-wing people. I think that's the axiom that undergirds right-wing thought. But I think it slips into everybody's daily life, whether you have sort of everyday suspicion or xenophobia.
I mean, it slips into like Democrats who get mad at Ralph Nader, right? I mean, you can't have a third party for some reason. Why not? Why can't
Can't
you
have a multiplicity of ideas.
Why can't, like, I thought America was all about that. I thought anyone could run for president. You don't have to be a Democrat or a Republican, but I guess you do. I guess there's only two options.
Yeah. But I think, and left-wing movements, when they get into that shit, that's what you're seeing with these patriotic, they're socialists in name only.
Right, the Pat Sox.
The Pat Sox. Right. The fucking Pat Sox. Like, it was so fucking Caleb Maupin getting outed as a fucking sex creep, Jesus Christ.
I didn't follow that or know who or what he is or what was that. I was kind of, it looked like it was too much of an investment to figure out what was going on. I couldn't figure out if he was right wing or left wing. I was like, who is this guy?
He was nominally left wing, and he was a big wheel in the Occupy movement, and then went down the Pat Sock train and started talking smack.
And that's just Nazbol, right? That's just
hanging out with Nazbols.
That's just being a national Bolshevist, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, isn't it?
Yeah. It's but we generally we don't like Stalin. You'll see a lot of Stalin apologists, but you won't see a lot of Stalin apologists amongst queer people. What with him recriminalizing gayness in Soviet Russia,
right?
Which is that's part of more or less because he had a grudge against one gay guy, which is pretty that's a good petty reason to do it.
Yeah, right. And he didn't like Jewish people.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think, that sort of anti-varietal thought and one of the better criticisms of Marxist-Leninism is that if you're not careful, that sort of anti-varietal thinking can seep into it.
Well, yeah, it's always, and I mean, it turns into the means justifying the ends because they just, it's for some sort of greater good that they've imagined that they're doing for Russia, and that's why we got to round up all the gay people and all the Jewish people and all the doctors and take all the food away from Ukraine because it's for some kind of greater good some greater project that we're working on. And if you don't understand it, then you're getting rounded up too.
And I guess, what I am promoting is, and I think the best ideas to come from liberalism are free speech, essentially. Not like unfettered free speech, obviously threats and supremacist speech, we don't need to tolerate because that's it is wholly, that type of speech is wholly anti-varietal. So I'm just going to apply my made up bullshit term to everything. But I think, the idea of plurality and the idea of many cultures existing in one culture, I think is definitely a keeper from liberalism. That's a good idea. Because what that means, too, is that people are less likely to rebel or undermine the government and their society if they're allowed to have a sense of making their own way in the world or have a sense of an inherent personal freedom. Mm-hmm. And so I think whatever socialist movement forms, if there is going to be a massive communist movement even, it has to be a communism for everybody. Literally everybody, and not just the majority.
Well, I don't know how that works. I don't know. I'm sure there's people jumping up and down right now talking about some kind of class, this, class, that.
Yeah.
Email us at House of Decline @gmail.com if you have any thoughts about that. I don't know. I never read no Marx or any of that.
We're not political guy. We just say we see stuff on the internet and we comment on it.
I mean, I was indoctrinated by right-wing Catholics to read Hayek, so that's the only shit I know. We got to have no rules for businesses ever. And rich people,
I can't believe Selma Hayek would write that.
I know. And rich people are smart because they're rich. That's what I learned. So
there's no such thing as a free lunch.
Right.
Which is wrong. That's inherently wrong. There's lots of ways to get free lunches. Steal it. Go to a conference.
I mean, literally, go out in the jungle
to AA,
and pick some berries, and boom, it's free.
Literally, yeah. It's what are you talking about?
Right there.
I guess there's labor involved, but it's there's no exchange of money in that way. Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah. I don't know.
Actually, that's a great criticism of it because it's it's so monetary policy poison that it can't even make the idea can't even conceive the idea of a world existing without some sort of fiat of exchange.
Yeah, I mean, what I heard recently that sort of sounds like it makes sense is that all this like classical liberalism, the Adam Smith stuff was kind of retconned after the fact. After they were like, oh, all this capitalism is starting to happen. We got to invent all these reasons why it's like the most great thing for humans and freedom, and
I think even in The Wealth of Nations, Adam Smith even vaguely calls for redistribution as well.
Yeah, sure. Don't they do that? Like Republicans vaguely call for that sometimes. You know?
Yeah.
Any Republican who votes for a farm bill is doing redistribution, and they all do.
Another big story this week is every Republican was down with the PPP loans, right?
Yeah, that's right. Down with the PP.
The PP. The PPP, of course, we're very juvenile.
The PP.
So that's the thing we bring up. So, yeah, the big discourse today is Brandon, good old Brandon, who is just doing the bare minimum now, and everyone in a certain part of the left is going, yeah, it's Brandon, he's back, baby! Mm-hmm. And which is fine because it's you expect nothing, so anything that's even remotely good is like, wow, this is manna from heaven.
Yeah, he did an incrementalism, so it's good. It's incrementally good. It's a small good thing he did.
So the 10K, here's the thing about this, people are downplaying the student loan bill. It's actually a very good bill.
Well, it's not a bill.
You're right. It's not even a bill. It's an executive order.
That's
it's
right. And it might get challenged. So
So we don't know. But even the executive order is, so it's 10K to anyone making under 125K. But there's like a list of like 80 institutions where your entire debt is purged. Of like schools that are defunct, like schools that went defunct, like Art Institute. All of your loans from Art Institute are forgiven if they're on that special list. And not only that, is there caps as well. Like after 20 years... it's like there are caps on the interest and there are caps on how long you have to pay. And after 20 years, you don't have to pay anymore, that's a very big thing.
They lowered it from like 10% to 5% if you don't have enough
10%.
income.
That's big as well. That's huge.
Yeah, they're doing some good stuff. He did some good small thing. It's it's good, and it's funny. It's funny to see this insane reaction.
Especially because the predictable, right, and even like centrist reaction has been, oh, this is bad for the economy. Oh no, this is like, and this is an insult to everyone that paid their way through college.
Everyone's everyone now will be like, oh, I don't have 300 grand of student debt. I have 290, and now. Now I'm gonna go buy that $10,000 diamond ring.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is. For a lot of people, it is just a drop in the bucket. But what's interesting, too, is like an argument that the right wing brought up is like, oh, the people in the skilled trades didn't have to worry about this. And then there's like quote tweets from like 1,000 trans electricians that are like, actually, I went to school and this actually really helped me a lot.
Don't you have to go to trade school?
Yeah, see, that's what's weird about it. You still have to go to school or like, that's what they said, our farmers, they hate the elites that go to college. There are agricultural centers at college. Lots of farmers go to fucking college.
Okay, but like, what about Batman? Like, he didn't go to school to learn how to be Batman, and now it is bad for him because just by the nature of being born as Bruce Wayne, he already had a bunch of money. And now he can't, he doesn't get anything and he's Batman? Mm-hmm. Like, come on.
Oh, yeah. The system is inherently unfair to our Batman.
It's unfair to the Batman.
Yeah. I guess there's only one. Well, no, I guess there are multiple.
I mean, there's Robin.
Is he a Batman? I don't think he's.
Yeah, a Robin is a kind of bat.
I guess Nightwing is he's more of a bat boy. There was a Batgirl, but that got canned for tax. Oh, that's the other delicious story is Warner Bros. Fucking just tank. It's hubris to say that I could run a billion-dollar company, a multi-billion-dollar company better than certain people, but I could definitely run it better than this Discovery Plus guy is running it.
It's weird. I don't know what's going on with them. I think everyone should quit. Everyone should stop making movies and TV. That would be fine with me, and we should just be thankful for all the media we already have. We can just go rewatch it a couple of times. There's a bunch of fucking shit. Like, I went to the library. I rented 2 Japanese movies I'd never seen before, Criterion Collection. They're great. Why do we need Batgirl?
Yeah, we already have all the movies, but once anti-varietal thought.
The reason we need it is because we have millions of people with student debt, with art degrees, who have to make Batgirl, or they won't have a living. Because they majored in CGI, and they have to. That's all all I know how to do is make a Batgirl.
Yeah, that's all I majored. I went to school for Batgirl. That's that's kind of the argument that's at the center of like why it's quote unquote bad to get rid of Batgirls, because there's all of these people who worked on Batgirl, and they all have student loans and lives, and they need to eat and drink. So you should, like, now they don't get royalties, and they won't get residuals from it. Yeah, it's fucked up. But yeah, well, like what you just said there. So like the head of Discovery, Warner Bros. Discovery, is a big MAGA guy too, which is interesting about it. So when all those animated shows were purged from HBO Max, it wasn't just seemingly to save taxes. All of those shows had like. Because now gay kids cartoons are really popular. Since Steven Universe, there's been this huge fucking wave of gay-ass kids cartoons, like with like explicitly queer content in it, which is good. I like that. But like a lot of the stuff that got shit-canned off of HBO Max, like stuff like Infinity Train, was like gay kids shows. And it seems like this MAGA guy who got in charge of Warner Bros., it wasn't just exclusively, saving taxes. It was his culture war. He wanted to personally intervene in the culture war in order to create less SJW style content.
That's why they got rid of Sesame Street, which I'm pissed about because Sesame. I was going to watch Sesame Street with my kid on HBO Max, and they got rid of the ones I wanted to watch. I wanted to watch like the old Sesame Street.
Yeah, the cool old 70s with Gordon. Yeah, ain't no Sesame Street without Gordon.
We started watching it, and then it's like gone now, and like PBS doesn't even have all of those up. It does cost a lot to keep those up, I think, but
maybe, yeah. But it's like the famous headline now is Warner Bros. Lost $20 billion in market cap trying to save $3 billion in taxes.
Well, this kind of ties into the Matt Damon clip from Hot Wings or Hot Ones that he was talking about.
Hot One, the great materialist explanation for why movies suck now.
Yeah, because there's no more DVDs. So that's interesting. Why don't they all switch back to DVDs then? Why doesn't HBO just be like, you can only get our shit on DVDs?
Well, because one, streaming is a lot lower production cost than DVDs.
I know, but there's only like 5 companies that control all the media. You think that's what you need to get 5 guys in a room together to create some kind of collusion plan to bring physical media back? How difficult can that be?
I think, the other thing they're up against is that people are creatures of convenience, and they will go to if it's easier to stream something than go out and rent a video or actually buy something or even, make the effort of purchasing it online.
I'm always getting mugged at the Red Box.
Absolutely. I went to the Red Box to pick up the Devil's Advocate, and I got stabbed 12 times in the kidneys. You can't even go out the Red Box anymore. Oh, my God. Yeah, so, but what's interesting about streaming services, too, is that they, on average, Netflix has less variety than your average video store back in the 90s. I mean, I guess you can make an argument, too, that they have, in a way, they have more because Netflix has a lot more access to international television and cinema. Like, there are a lot of Indian movies, a lot of Korean movies on Netflix.
I tell you where there's a lot of international movies, your local library.
absolutely.
I went to there.
Absolutely.
I got these 2 Japanese movies. I'm gonna go back, and you know what? I'm gonna donate to the library. I'm gonna do. I did community service one time for the library. So go do it one time.
I mean, libraries are great. You know, they're incredible community hubs. They're frequently the only public informational services available to the poor.
Yeah.
So
and there's public computers there. Go start a Twitter account and do some like hardcore trolling, and it'll be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. It's coming from the library. They trace your IP address, and then the 4chan people will show up at the library.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, "This isn't a house."
They can't swat the library.
They would. We're swatting the library. You have overdue books? Yeah, I am the librarian, and I am coming to shoot the city council. Yeah, I write that.
Hopefully not. Now some right-wing troll's going to be like, I'm going to swat the library.
But there is an intersection of right-wing and library stuff, because like a big part of the new right-wing push is to get gay kids' books out of libraries. Mm-hmm. You know, because libraries are this big resource of information, and who they choose to hire and what they choose to advertise within the library, especially for children, is like forms a big part of how children grow up and understand. You know, it's a big place for kids. So they're trying to get at the root of that there, which I feel is very insane. And it's the same reason why the new Warner Bros. Discovery guy attacks the children's shows, because it's this idea that, you know, you have to, because I mean, it's literally true. If you get people, with bigotry while they're young, it's much harder to unlearn, you know?
Yeah.
So there is that sort of practical, I guess there is, you know, a material aspect to culture war as well, in that, but I still think, but not really, because, you know, hating gays has nothing to do with resource consolidation, really. Mm-hmm. So it's all of this, you know, I want something to be this way. It's better if it is the way that I see it. And I need to take out the thing. The thing is, when you're being openly gay, you know, I mean, for a lot of gays, they do want to take down mainstream straight society. But for most gays, being gay is not an affront to mainstream straight society. You don't want to dismantle mainstream straight society. You just want to be able to exist and live as, you know, only dismantle it in the sense that get it to accept you. You know, that's the part of it you want to dismantle. The rest of it you leave up. Whereas when a right-wing person is attacking a gay person, it's about destroying the identity entirely. It's about saying this should not be, you know.
I mean, yeah, it's the whole society thing. I mean, I don't know how you change society as an individual, and I don't really think all these different groups are working that effectively to do it. But like, is the reason why we have more gay acceptance due to, like, what does that due to? Is it due to gay groups?
Yeah, I would broadly say cultural activism. Specifically, the big turning point, at least for gay white men, was absolutely Glee. You can see. Yeah, you remember Glee, right?
I'd never watched it.
At Glee, it was this very gay show where they do covers of popular songs, right?
Okay.
So it's automatically like if you have normal brain. You know, they're doing covers of these. They're doing clever covers of these songs. And, you know, with a big major, you know, sort of femi gay character in Glee was Kurt. And I don't know the actor's name, but I remember the character's name because he was like the breakout star. It's like, oh, this beautiful little wonderfully singing gay boy. And so, especially with like Midwest moms, you know, they love Glee. And, you know, the husbands will just do whatever the moms say because it's like, okay, I'm not going to fight you on this. So they're pumping Kurt into these houses. And Glee is very strategically set in Lima, Ohio, you know, in a place that is quote unquote normal. So, and I think the show is bad, but I think Ryan Murphy is a genius in trying to construct something that would be as broadly popular as possible while putting in as many explicitly gay themes as possible as well. I think that a lot of media around that time, especially like stuff like I Now Pronounce You, Chuck and Larry too, which was marketed towards a quote unquote normie audience. But
And is that
really,
Larry the Cable Guy?
it is no, it's Kevin James. It's
Okay.
Adam Sandler
different,
and Kevin James.
fat slob. I get it.
Yeah.
That's
But
fine.
that was a thing at that time, is these gay movies with queer content that were specifically marketed towards normie tolerance of at least gay men. You know, lesbians didn't have that luck. You know, for gay men, it was very, we got our shoe in the door first. You know, we got our foot in the door first. Because, you know, you obviously have more privilege as a man,
like,
you know.
That is, I mean, I see a lot of people using this as a reason for why we need to be accepting of bad media, is that if it has a positive social message, then that's why it's good. And so that's kind of used for the Marvel movies a lot.
Oh, but the Marvel movies don't even have positive social messages.
Well, I mean, they do when they're like, the government is good.
Yeah. We can intervene in the affairs of third world countries, and you know
we should we're the police, like we're the world police. I mean,
Captain America Civil War is nuts. Scarlet Witch blows up a building presumably filled with black people. We don't see them die. They're in like Nigeria, and they're fighting, you know, this international arms race warfare against crossbones. And
right.
she blows up a fucking building.
It's like Matt Damon said, though. I mean, it's we have to appeal to the lowest common denominator with these movies now, because they only have one shot at making their money. So
yeah,
you have to do what the demos wants. And boy, howdy, the demos wants fucking buildings blowing up and the good guy winning and an easy to understand black and white story, like you were saying.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that was even like the premise of Civil War, is that it's not black and white. It's that there are good arguments on both sides, even though, you know, the movie clearly wants you to root for Captain America over Iron Man.
I had no idea that's what he's fighting Iron Man.
Yeah. He's fighting Iron Man in that movie because the premise of that movie is there's going to be these accords where the government can limit superheroes and how they're, which is good. That's like the opening scene of the movie is the premise that these people with incredibly nuke-like powers unchecked are a net negative, and Captain America is against this regulation because, I mean, in the Marvel universe, it's different because there's some existential threat to the universe every, you know, Tuesday. So it's like,
go watch a real film, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, guys, go watch The Lighthouse.
Yeah, right? Go watch The Lighthouse.
A beautiful film about homoerotic anger.
Yes,
which I guess that's also what Civil War is about too.
It's also deeply homoerotic because Captain America and his relationships with Bucky and Iron Man. And they fight at the end, but that's like them having sex. It's like them having angry sex.
Do they fight with their butts and their dicks?
They fight with their butts and their dicks. Absolutely. And so, but like I said, anti-varietal thought, even in corporate ideology, this has sort of seeped down. Even in the way that we consume media is less variety than before. It's which is, you know, in my mind, that shows that, I mean, that it's not controversial to say that America is largely right-wing at its core. You know, it's largely nationalistic, and it has, I think it has that sort of rules-based, you know, don't fuck with the law. Even though it's like a country of cowboy outlaws, simultaneously they're also like, obey the law, obey the rules, rule of law. So it's that tension in America constantly. But yeah, anti-varietal thought. What do you think of my crackpot theory, Stephen?
I mean, crackpot theories started being distributed by the CIA in the 80s to predominantly black neighborhoods.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
As you may know.
The crackpot epidemic, yeah.
Yeah. Like that episode of Jeopardy where it's the MAGA guy. Remember that one?
Yeah.
From the MAGA guy going on
the Saturday Night Live bit. Yeah, the Saturday Night Live bit where it's Tom Hanks and he's saying all these anti-government things and all the black people are agreeing with him.
Yeah, so what's now that we have a little we can do a little retrospective. What's the consensus on that? Is that still good?
No, I think that's like, I mean, I guess it's well, that joke is sometimes funny because recently, like in the Keffels, the ongoing Keffels drama, now Marjorie Taylor Greene, Kiwi Farm swatted Marjorie Taylor Greene, so now MTG is calling for Kiwi Farms to be banned, so now they're on the same side, which is funny. So I think just the general joke of politics make strange bedfellows is well founded.
Yeah. You know,
and
America is the land where a left-wing communist and a right-wing fascist can get together and do something good for the country.
Absolutely, yeah. But I think that sketch, too, it's like, it's interesting because that's the pitch that Republicans use to black people. It's that, look, the Democratic Party keeps saying it's going to help you over and over again. These pro-government people say they're going to help you over and over again, and they never do. Mm-hmm. And that's actually a pretty good pitch because, you know, sort of frustration at the Democratic Party for not delivering on their promises to black people is like, I think that sticks in the craw, and it's a very real thing for people. So, but, you know, obviously you don't see a lot of black converts to Republicanism because, you know, they're gonna, this is, even if the Democrats fail constantly, it's still, the other option is fucking unthinkable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because, they're the ones that are openly racist, you know?
Yeah.
So, but, I think that Saturday Night Live pitch, too, it's that centrist thing of, oh, we're not so different. We're trying to bridge the gap. There was that general sentiment around 2016, 2017. We're so divided. How did we become so divided?
Yeah.
Which is, you know, why is that a bad thing necessarily, though? You know, why is having political reckonings around subjects of great importance, why is that a bad thing?
Well, it's only bad when it's like a 50-50 split and then you can't do anything. Like if it was a 40-60 split on everything, then it would be a lot easier to govern because the 60 would always win over the 40.
Yeah.
And, I mean, America was set up to try to keep, I think they were more afraid of majoritarian rule than minority rule.
Yeah.
Because I think the founders were like, well, the majority, if the minority's ruling too much, the majority can always just kill them all.
Yeah. And
now we're like, well, that's not good either.
Yeah. Well, the majoritarian thing, such that that was specifically against slaves too. You know, that was the 3/5 compromise.
They were
worried.
They were very worried that the slaves would be able to do something like that, and it was built into the Constitution. That's why we need a new constitutional convention. We should just have another new one. There's no reason why we can't do that. I'm very much in favor of a brand, because we're not going to be able to pass any more amendments. Let's get real. There's no more amendments. We got to have a new constitution. And
tradition, originalism. You know what it boils down to, Stephen?
What's that?
Anti-varietal thought.
Okay, but anyway, new constitution, and it should be based on the First Amendment. Should be like what, like weed. Is the first
weed.
One? What's the Second Amendment after
sex workers?
Sex workers. Third Amendment.
Cocaine.
Cocaine.
Nice
Fourth
cocaine.
Amendment. Hip hop.
Yeah, legalize hip hop. You know, it's been illegal for so long. You know,
it's not that it's illegal. It's just it's.
We want it enshrined in writing. You know,
the Fourth Amendment is hip hop.
And the Sixth Amendment is the 5 pillars of hip hop. So there's 5 clauses to it. You know,
sure.
B-boying.
8, 9, and 10 are TBD.
Yeah,
we're gonna circle back.
Yeah, circle back.
And that all you need to get a constitution off the ground is the first 10. We did it. Oh wait, maybe 8 can be Sopranos.
8 is Sopranos,
there
absolutely. Yeah, enshrine the Sopranos. You know, everyone loves those.
It's pretty easy to do. All you have to do is get some representatives from each 50 states and have them all get together in a room, and then hope one of them is Alexander Hamilton.
Right.
maybe we get Lin-Manuel.
We get Lin-Manuel to be Alexander Hamilton. Yes, and he's rapping. He's rapping at the new constitutional convention. It's like, we're creating treaties to end diabetes.
Ooh, that's number 9.
Number 9, diabetes. It's in there.
Treaties to End Diabetes.
Treaties to End Diabetes.
Okay.
You know? And I'm getting these CDs.
Physical media. We're bringing back
physical media. Number 10. Yeah. Lin-Manuel's spelling it all out. Lin-Manuel Hamilton is. I've just got to call him Lin-Manuel Hamilton from now on.
Yeah, he is the greatest genius. Imagine if we had the Constitution and it was written by the guy that did West Wing. What's his name?
Aaron Sorkin.
Yeah, Aaron. This year, the Constitution by Aaron Sorkin.
This Constitution is a little misogynistic. It's a little anti-woman, don't you think?
It's the exact same Constitution from like the time it was written, so all the racist shit's back in it.
Yeah. And then, like a little extra thing is like, oh, what's this Constitution that says women have smaller brains than men? Why is this the 11th Amendment? Well, it's true, damn it. Aaron Sorkin is in the corner.
That's Aaron Sorkin
in a huff.
for you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my Aaron Sorkin impression.
He's sexist, huh?
Well, that's a common criticism of his. That's a common criticism of his work.
Maybe we should get good old J.K. Rowling to rewrite the West Wing from a feminist perspective.
Turf West Wing. That would be great.
Turf West Wing with magic.
Oh God, no! Oh God, no! It's the ultimate lanyard, hot pot.
Oh, do you think there's any West Wing Harry Potter fanfic crossovers?
Absolutely.
Oh boy,
I'm gonna look it up right now.
Okay, well we have 30 seconds left in the episode.
We have 30 seconds left. West Wing Harry Potter fanfic. I'm just gonna look up West Wing Harry Potter and see what I get.
Okay.
The West Wing is a large corridor in the Harry Potter wiki, so it refers to the West Wing of Hogwarts. I guess
well, that would be the perfect entry point for like Hogwarts has a West Wing and it has an Oval Office.
Hogwarts beats the White House. Robbie Coltrane reveals how he turned down the West Wing for Harry Potter.
No, dude, you should have definitely Googled Harry Potter West Wing fanfic because yes, I found it, and here we go.
Okay.
Summary.
This is what we're leaving you with.
Summary. In the year 1965, Jed and Abby Bartlett had been told they would never be able to have a child. Desperate to have a family, they adopted a beautiful little girl, a girl destined to be a witch. Now grown, Miss Jessica, but everyone calls me Jess, Bartlett is off to Hogwarts, teaching defense against the dark arts.
Is this parody or is this real?
It is a real thing. It is 6,000 words long.
Read more. I want to hear more.
Okay. Jed was sitting at his desk, head in hands, when Mrs. Landingham opened the door to announce that Jess was there to see him. Surprised at the unexpected arrival of his eldest daughter, he nodded dumbly. "Hey, Dad," she said as she walked in. "Jess, I thought you were going back to the school today." "I am after lunch with the guys." Jed huffed at the thought of his very beautiful daughter having lunch with Sam, Toby, Josh, CJ, and Leo, although he didn't mind the last two as much. "Which one of them are you sweet on again?" "Dad," she exclaimed, blushing furiously, "I am not sweet on any of them." Oh boy. Okay, this is very long.
This is good. This is like actually capturing Sorkin's dialogue. This is a pretty good pastiche, I gotta say, in terms of capturing the tone of Sorkin-esque dialogue.
Okay, so anyway, skipping down. So Jed says, "So what are you teaching over there again?" "A new branch of defense against the dark arts, fighting and weaponry." This goes on for too long, but we did successfully find the Harry Potter and the West Wing. You can go to fanfiction.net and just search Harry Potter and the West Wing. You'll find it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're probably going to spend the entire bonus episode reading this. So if you want to go subscribe to patreon.com/House of Decline, this Wednesday, we're going to have Harry Potter and the West Wing on. And it's going to be fantastic, guys. Thank you so much for listening to House of Decline.